Hello, I'm doing a book review, and the book I want to review is Batman Crimson Mist. Now, Crimson Mist is a graphic novel written by Doug Moench, illustrated by Kelley Jones, and published by DC Comics in 1999, and this is the third graphic novel of Doug Moench and Kelley Jones's Batman Dracula trilogy, which started in 1992 with the graphic novel Batman and Dracula Red Rain. And then that was followed up in 1994 with Batman Bloodstorm, and now Crimson Mist wraps up the trilogy. Now, this trilogy crosses over the character of Batman, originally created by Bob Kane Bill Finger, with the Dracula mythos, which originated from the classic vampire novel by Bram Stoker. Now, I reviewed the first book in this trilogy for my 2023 series of Batman reviews, then I reviewed Bloodstorm for my 2024 series of Batman reviews. And I'll leave links to both those reviews in the description below, but of course I'm doing this review as part of this year 2025 series of Batman reviews, because these Batman reviews are something I do every year. Now, this trilogy was published under DC's Elseworlds banner, meaning that it's completely set within its own universe or timeline. Like, this trilogy has no connection to any previous Batman continuity. Basically, with DC's Elseworlds banner, writers are essentially given free rein to do whatever the hell they want with the characters. Now, in order to explain the plot of Crimson Mist, I am going to have to give away some spoilers of what happened in the first two books. So, in Red Rain, Count Dracula came to Gotham City and started turning the city's homeless population into vampires. So, Batman, Jim Gordon, Alfred, and a small group of vampires who turned against Dracula had to stop him. But the story culminated with Dracula destroying all the vampires who turned against him, including a female vampire named Tanya, who Batman had fallen in love with, and Batman realized that the only way he could defeat Dracula is if he becomes a vampire himself. Bloodstorm was really about the aftermath of Red Rain, where Dracula has now been destroyed, but Batman is now a vampire, and he's desperately trying to fight his vampirism. Meanwhile, the Joker takes command of what's left of Dracula's army. Now, that comic also reimagined Selina Kyle literally as a werecat, and Batman falls in love with her in that story, and the story ended with the Joker killing Selina Kyle, so Batman completely succumbs to his vampirism and kills the Joker. But because Batman has succumbed to his vampirism, he's now damned, so the comic ended with Alfred and Commissioner Gordon killing Batman. Now, the plot of Crimson Mist is in the years since Batman's been dead, crime in Gotham City is now at an all-time high, and the city is being terrorized by super criminals like Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, the Riddler, and Killer Croc. Also, Gotham's District Attorney Harvey Dent has recently gone insane after being horribly disfigured after a mob boss that he was prosecuting splashed acid in his face, and he is now become a criminal known as Two-Face. So, realizing that something must be done, Alfred ends up resurrecting Batman, but Batman is no longer the man he once knew. He is now a blood-drinking demon. So, the newly resurrected vampire Batman goes out and starts violently and sadistically killing criminals, something that he never would have done when he was human. Realizing that this was a horrible mistake, Alfred and Jim Gordon have no choice but to team up with Two-Face and Killer Croc in order to take out the vampire Batman. So, Crimson Mist, I think, is a pretty satisfying conclusion to the Batman Dracula trilogy, and if you want a really dark and twisted take on the Batman mythos, I would recommend checking this out, because in this comic, Batman essentially is the antagonist, and honestly, the vampire Batman in this comic is genuinely pretty scary. And I think if you read Red Rain, Bloodstorm, and Crimson Mist all in a row, it creates a really fascinating story arc. Because really what this trilogy is about is, it's about a hero becoming a monster, becoming the very monster that he used to fight against. Now, I've mentioned before that Two-Face is my favorite Batman antagonist, so I did appreciate how Two-Face has a pretty large part to play in this story, although I will say Two-Face is a fucking asshole in this. Like, even though he does have the same tragic backstory as the Two-Face that we know, for some reason this version of Two-Face is a lot less sympathetic than he usually is. Here, he's just kind of a prick. And Killer Croc, I gotta say, this is one of the most vicious interpretations of Killer Croc that I've seen. Like, he's almost worse than the vampires. So yeah, guys, that was my review of Batman Crimson Mist by Doug Moench and Kelley Jones, and bye.